Welcome back, faithfuls. We are here to discuss another episode of the US series of The Traitors. My name is Ben, and I am still a faithful.
Think about that.
I nearly said traitor there.
Goodness me.
But I'm not. I am a faithful, of course.
And a sharp cut of music as well. I'm Alex, and I'm a friend of Groundkeeper's Fergus.
I thought you were going to say friend of Dorothy's then.
And I'm a friend of Dorothy's. Thanks for outing me on the show. That's very kind of you, Ben.
Go tell Fangus. No, what was his name?
Fangus?
No, not Angus.
I'm a fan of Angus. I'm a Fangus.
What's his name?
Fergus.
Fergus.
So I'm
yes.
a fan of Fergus. Fangus.
Groundskeeper Fergus. Yes, we had it confirmed in this episode.
We did.
We weren't sure before because Alan Cummings mumbled his name on episode 1 when he was in his boat. But no, he was in the church this week.
He was ringing bells with the best of them.
Saying pass or fail. So doing a good job, old Fergus.
I feel like we missed out of having a Fergus in our series, the British series of
We must
Traitors.
stop talking about the British series though, because this is the series about the US series.
I know, but it's very difficult not to compare the two.
Yes, but people listening may not have seen the UK one.
But then I urge people to watch the UK one. I don't know, how can you watch it in the States? I'm not
VPN.
sure.
Do everything with VPN.
VPN, oh yes, VPN.
Yeah.
Not that we... Well, I suppose it's not illegal, is it? It's perfectly
No.
legal.
In fact, sponsor us.
Oh yeah.
Perfect podcast for VPN.
There you go. Anyone out there who works
There
for a
you go.
VPN company, we're cheap, we're easy. We'll advertise you all day long.
Now,
Yeah.
before we even start talking, we can't skip over the death.
No, we're not going to do that.
Okay, so we're going to do the death first,
Okay.
as the TV series does.
But to be fair, though, this would probably be one of the easiest ones for us to skip because he was in it for literally the blink of an eye.
Last episode was the first time I saw him, I think.
And
then,
he had, one moment when he did a talk to the camera and then that was it?
Yeah, bless him.
We didn't even know
You
his
wanna say
name.
his name?
We didn't even know his actual
Robert.
name. Yeah, you put him down as
Bam.
Robert on my notes. And and luckily, yes, Bam.
Yes.
He's missed Bam Bam Rubble, whatever.
He didn't turn up to breakfast, didn't he?
He didn't. Well, he's dead.
No,
He was quite confused. He was as confused as everyone was for the reason why he died. The reason was literally because the traitors want to confuse everyone, and they
That
want
is the
to
best strategy at the beginning.
throw
I
a
feel.
random element in.
It's just do it random because then no one can predict who the traitors are. So that is the best way to do it.
The funny
to
thing
begin
is, at the top of the episode, I was really confused by that choice, and I thought, no, they've messed up here. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But by the end of the episode, it made, as you said, it made perfect sense. It totally made perfect sense because when they got to the round table, it was one of the main underlying reasons for why they were voting for the people they voted for, because they said, oh, you are deliberately trying to throw randomness into this calculated thought process.
And Christian was like, he's my best friend. I just don't want to do it. But I was thinking, no, if you kill your best friend, people shouldn't suspect you because why would you get rid of your own best friend?
Well, quite.
So Christian should have been happy with that result, I feel. But we did get rid of. This was also the first episode where we actually got a few glimpses of the non-known people.
They finally got some airtime.
Yeah, and it's so much better when it's just normal people. I'm sorry, they are the better contestants already.
But the
They're
thing
so
is,
much more interesting because they're actually involved.
yeah, but one of the biggest twists at the end of tonight's episode, or episode 3, was with a character that we both
Yeah,
thought
but I've got
was
something
a
to say about that
non-character.
conspiracy theory whenever we talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Should we say that a bit later because that literally happened at the end of the episode?
Well, that would be the very end, I believe. I feel it's a nice way to top off the show.
But we had a little non-celebrity friendship start with Angelica and Azra. They everyone was yelling and shouting and accusing each other. They seem to just want to do the round table all the time. Like there's pre-round table where they just sit down and say, right, who should we vote for then?
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't
And it's
it?
like, okay.
Instead, and they don't tend to have their own
all
discussions
business.
away from each other either.
No,
They
all
all
in
seem
a
to always
group.
bundle up together and have these big chats. Like you say, they have the round table before the actual round table, which I would say kind of lightens the round table, but I don't think it does. I think they still go in
There's
there
just
with
more hatred.
engines roaring. There's so much hate.
And none of them ever seem to be able to just sit on their own. There's always people wandering into their conversations or wandering the halls or walking into the room all the time. So it's a bit odd how they're just constantly on it. And Kate is just really like just saying whatever. She just says it to anyone's face.
But Kate doesn't care.
She doesn't care, does she?
But she doesn't need to care because she's made quite a lot of money from not being on the show. And
well, that's where my theory comes from.
Oh, okay.
But
But I mean, I think we said this before, and I don't know if it matches your theory that we were talking about. This is very mysterious. You're building up to something very, very big at the end. I hope that this is worth it. I'm sure it is. But I feel like Brandy and Kate are only there for their brand. I feel like they're only there for that reason only. They're kind of just the way they're kind of presenting themselves.
Okay, well, I'll just talk my theory now.
Okay, we're getting early, are we?
We're on the topic anyway, so I might as well do it. I think, because at the end, a note fell out of her skirt, which rang alarm bells straight away for me.
Yeah.
Fell out of her skirt? Where was it? And why did it fall out?
In her knickers.
In her loose knickers, clearly.
Up her bum crack.
Yes, because it fell out into the middle of the seat. And she just, the way she's acting, she just doesn't care. She just sits there on the chair and just shouts at people and says, "You're a traitor," or "You're for this," or whatever.
With a glass of wine in her hand.
Yeah, and sunglasses on so no one can see that she's hungover.
She's clearly been drinking in her room.
I thought she was drunk at the round table, to be honest.
I think she's been taking...
And I've never seen her before on her, what is it, a ship show, is it?
Below deck.
She's below deck, if she's just like a bit wobbly. Because she's used to being on the sea. I don't know. But she's looking a bit wobbly on the round table. And Brandy as well is very sort of like, yeah, I'll just say this, or I'll just say that, or I'll just shout at you, and it's like and then when the bit of paper fell out of her skirt, I was like, oh, for God's sake. And then someone found it and then talked about it. That's clearly, these two have been put in by the producers. Do you not think?
Oh, what, to deliberately just
and they're like, oh, drop this bit. Because like when they were writing down names, they sat opposite a table together and no one interrupted them and like, let's write it down and not talk. And it's like, but when they wrote it down, they then said the name out loud. It's like, well, why have you done that?
Well, see, this is where I'm kind of on board with your idea, because it sounded like
constructed reality. This is sounding
a little constructed. It felt like that the producers said, right, do that, and then we can
write you down. And Brandy, you can go this week, and Kate, you'll go next episode.
Yeah, which is a real shame, because it kind of the whole premise of the show again. And I know I can't talk about the British version, but it's just so organic the way that it kind of unfolds, the way it unfolds, and like watching this, it's almost like a human experiment of how people just jump on. If civilization was to crumble, would this be like people dog eat dog kind of world where they're trying to win this big prize fund, and how everyone, as I mentioned last episode, a herd mentality, everyone jumps on, because we've not even had a vote where there's been like one outright winner, really, if you know what I mean. Like this episode, they had Brandy got 8, Michael got 6, and Kate got 3. And for such an early on, I know from other episodes, because I've kind of done a bit of research for like the Dutch version. I've deliberately not touched the Australian version because I've got something inside of me that feels like it's coming over to the UK.
Series 3.
I can't think why.
Of the podcast.
But in the Dutch version, in very early on, a lot of the votes were kind of like a herd mentality on the first couple of episodes.
But that's because it was just normal.
It's normal
casual people, because
yeah.
all the scenes and the bits which were with like the civilians, let's say the civilians, like was the more interesting scenes, I thought, and then all the other famous people, and then the moderately known people. What's less than moderate, so I can keep reducing each episode? The somewhat. Kind of known people.
Somewhat known people.
All of their scenes are just taken up by Kate and Brandy being like really loud and annoying. And
they are stealing the show.
And when Angelica and Azra just got up and walked off and had their little chat, I thought that would be me, because I would not be able to sit in a room with those all the time. It's just like, oh God. So I am glad that the one that got banished, Brandy, did get banished in the end. I was like, I'm actually quite glad about this.
And they're kind of lining up to the next episode, because Stephanie found the note, went straight to Suri. I like to say straight away, I apologise for my pronunciation of the name.
We apologise for all our pronunciations.
We've had a few people get in touch, and you're quite right. It's not right that we didn't get it right. Anyway,
a few people. Well, yeah, there probably will be more. This is still early.
We've had a couple.
We've both recorded the podcast and we've had feedback.
Yes, the feedback was instant, but
Yes,
that's lovely. Thank you ever so much. We love that. It means you guys are enjoying.
You don't have
the
to call
podcast.
us C anymore, or Miss C, or CC.
Missy C.
Surrey.
Surrey.
So we know how to pronounce one name.
Surrey was the one that Stephanie went to show the note to, and now I think
fill out the skirts.
Let's fill out a skirt. So, and I'm guessing now Surrey is going to probably use that now and deliberately choose one of the people that was on the note to murder. So then
Which I'm sad of, because Amanda's on one of them, and I quite like Amanda. Civilian again with her red glasses.
the ER nurse.
And the other one was Shelby, I think was written on there. But it's like, if she was a traitor, this is why I just think it's a producer plant and it's not real. The Kate and her loose skirt and Brandy. Because, like, why would Kate then not wonder where her paper is? Or
Well,
why
she's
would
drunk.
she write it down? Oh, yeah, true.
She has no idea
She's
what's
had
going
too
on.
much wine.
She's had too much wine. She
Her
did what
skirt's fallen off. She didn't notice the paper gone. Didn't notice it on the chair.
the producers paid her with white wine.
And how did she see it on the chair, Stephanie? Because she was on the other side of the round table and everyone all got up. But like,
yeah,
she
and people who
spotted
walked
it.
past her chair didn't spot anything either.
And it was like placed right in the middle. Just everything about that is, I'm just thinking, this is
so do you think Stephanie's part of it as
meddling by the
well?
producers.
So then Stephanie will be knocked out as well.
Stephanie, is she somewhat appeared in 3 series of The Survivor?
Survivor. She's somewhat well known.
Oh, she was in. Oh, right.
This is
No, I don't
fascinating
think
stuff.
she is. I just think I think Kate and Brandy are the ones who are planted by the producers because they're the two that have been playing the missions who don't really care. Apart from this mission,
This mission, they were having a whale of a time.
well, it's because
listening to
Brandy
the
knew it was
church
her last
bells.
episode in the contract.
Yeah, yeah.
They wrote
quickly
her check.
I quickly need to be seen a bit more.
Yeah, they were having a whale of time on this one, but all the other times and everything they do just screams that they don't care if they're in the show or not, or if they go early. And I'm like, yeah, that is producer planted, and they've just. Stephanie's the one who's been chosen to find it, I guess.
So if we're going on the idea then that the
So I am upset by that.
the
by the
more
way.
well, it's upsetting if they have kind of not got trust in the format enough.
It's not needed. 'Cause it's better
Well, we
without
know
it.
that. We know that now.
Why? Because of
we've
what
got the British
series?
version. The British version is just fantastic.
We're gonna
'cause
start a
it's been
war
well, I mean, a war between America and UK television.
in Scotland.
But well, you know, I mean, it's if that is true, which we've got, you know, it's very much
Firm suspicions.
the suspicions. You're literally calling the producers of the show traitors.
Yes.
Traitors.
Yes.
Yes.
They're the real traitors.
They're
in
the
this
real traitors of the
situation.
show. Maybe next series, the US series, they can do just a somewhat famous run.
Yeah, don't need Brandy, don't need Kate.
You really don't. It really works
I
well
actually
without
don't mind
it.
any others of the somewhat known people. I don't actually mind the rest of them. It's Kate and Brandy, which are the ones that are just like, okay, you've had your 3 episodes now.
Yeah. Your arc.
I can tell you don't care about the show. just leave and let let Amanda and let Angelica speak up and have a few scenes, eh?
Well, what about the actual traitors? Cody, Surrey.
I've hardly seen them either. I feel like the traitors haven't been
Well, no,
doing
Cody
much.
said he was looking forward to murdering Rachel today. He said that she's too happy.
Rachel?
Yeah, Rachel, the one with the red gloves.
Oh
She was the
yeah,
one
because
singing
they're
along
meant
to
to
the
be
church
friends
music.
in real life. In episode 1, she was like, "We know each other outside, so we're
But
friends."
they're both on Big Brother, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they want to kill each other.
No, she doesn't want to kill him. He's looking
yeah.
forward to killing her.
Oh, I like Rachel. I think she's all right. She's playing a smarter game plan than the loud game plan, which Kate is currently playing.
She seems to just be having fun. She just seems to be enjoying her time on it, which is again what we kind of said. You should enjoy your time when you're playing it.
We can't forget Ryan as well. He loved ringing his bells.
Ryan, I love Ryan.
Bless him. Ringing his bells.
I was like, yeah, look at me contributing. What?
What? Ryan.
He struggles to blink.
He struggles to wink.
And blink on this episode, I think.
he
I
have a
saw
bad
him struggle
blink?
to blink a few times.
He was contributing though, and that's the main thing.
That's true. He is contributing.
I'm like, what?
But,
Look at me contributing.
but I was happy with how the round table did end up with Brandy going. Because it looked, for a minute, it looked like it was Michael. Poor Michael has been chosen again. And I didn't like how Brandy kept like making fun of Michael for his anxiety, and she was like, "Oh, you're not
his
crying,
social
haha."
Yeah, stop crying.
But she was like, "I have it too, and I'm fine." And it's
Yeah.
like, "You're a millionaire.
No,
go away.
You're drinking. You're drinking your pain
You're
away.
only not anxious when you're drunk. Wait till you sober up.
I know.
Never happens. Always in her
But do you
bloodstream."
notice, actually, going on our theory that she is, we are accusing her of being alcoholic, which is a bit cruel of us, but okay.
Yeah, but she was
in the
mean
morning,
to Michael.
She was
so
mean to
it's-
Michael, and we like Michael. She also at
Well,
the table looks a bit red eyes as well, doesn't she? She always looks like she's not bothered there, mainly there. And as the day winds on, when the wine winds her up, back in, she tends to kind of get a bit more spirit inside of her. No pun intended. So, but hello, I'm sorry, I just had a moment there. I like Michael. You clearly don't. What do you have against Michael?
Well, I'm suspicious of his episode 2, the way he spoke to
again,
Kate,
producer
even though I don't like Kate.
What do you
I'm
think-
very confused.
Do you
I
think
am.
this whole show is just written?
No, as in I didn't like the way he said to Kate, "If you don't vote her, I'll get rid of you." I thought that was really just
But
a
then
stupid.
That makes sense now because we know he has a social anxiety.
Yeah, I
So
know.
he
But I just
can't-
think the way he sort of erupts sometimes, and then I'm like, oh no, I don't like the way he sort of erupts and just does a spew of everything.
I think that goes in line with what he's saying.
Well, it's
the
not
social
working for
anxiety.
him, is it? Because he keeps. Even people around the table now are saying, "Let's just get rid of him tomorrow." Then.
But again, every time you think that, right, next episode he's out, something happens and he seems to swerve it again. So this time around, he successfully was able to convince people that he thought that Brandy was so... Because his reasoning was that Brandy throws so many accusations out. Not just him, not just Michael said this, Quentin said this as well. Quentin was the first one to stand up tonight and say... She throws out so many accusations that she's the one who's confusing players, much like what they did with the murder of Bam earlier in the day. So Michael jumped on it and was like, well, actually, yeah, that's a fair point. I agree with that. But also, I think Kate's doing the same thing. And I don't think it's out of the ordinary for people to start thinking that Brandy and Kate are one of the same person, because they were practically the same person, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And they always had like... No one seemed to ever be able to get up on their own apart from those two, which again makes me suspicious.
They're obsessed.
That the producers were like, just go in that room and we'll do a few scenes. Okay, I'll write down some names. Yeah, I just don't. I want Kate gone next, and I think once Kate and Brandy are gone,
It'll be a show that you want to maybe...
I'm still liking it, but I just don't like how like they're not playing the game. I don't know. They're playing the game like they don't care if they just go, so they just literally are just saying anything, which is causing drama, which I suspect is what
The producers
they wanted them to do.
But this is it. They don't need to cause drama because
Exactly.
the drama is already in the game. The game has the drama. The whole idea of the fact that people are wildly accusing one another of over the most smallest things, like, oh, you used a bit of salt on your dinner tonight, so I think you're the traitor, or in the British series. I'm obsessed.
Right.
Someone accused someone of being a traitor because they drank their water from a different hand.
No, not a different hand.
Well,
they didn't
their
raise
only
their
hand,
hand because
yeah.
they only had one hand.
They only had one hand. So this poor woman who was an amputee, because she had her water on the wrong side and it wasn't where
Yeah,
her
she
hand
couldn't raise
was.
her hand.
She couldn't raise a glass. People accused her of being a traitor. See, this is what I love. That organic kind of accusation. I agree with
I love
you.
judging people.
But you hate them and yet you like their soundbite.
Well, you need to listen to the words.
I love judging people.
Put on Ryan again. He's sweet.
Ryan,
Yeah.
he's sweet, is he?
When he's sweet,
Like, yeah. Look at me contributing. What?
He
he's
rang
so
a bell.
happy. He rang one bell in the whole game. That was what he did. But bless him, he felt like that he won that round fair and square. Oh, we must say the prize. We always tote up the prize money of what it is so far. $75,000.
That's loads, isn't it, already?
I love the way Alan Cummings says dollar. He emphasizes the at the end. You won $75,000.
I said on the last podcast as well that we Brandy had her beret. We now know why, because she didn't get murdered and she filmed those little scenes the next day. So she was wearing her beret outfit. Mm-hmm. So there was a little... You have to watch out for these things. What outfits are they wearing? And they're talking to Headbits, and then you can work out who's in the next episode sometimes.
Oh, see, that this is where RuPaul's Drag Race, they always make them wear the same clothes. For that reason, because then they can cut together clips from an interview.
They
They
just
did
make them
weeks
say whatever
before.
they want, basically.
Well, they can literally edit. a
So
sound-
I'm kind of an icon.
They could do. It's like what's that episode of The Simpsons when Homer Simpsons wants that sweet sweet can?
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit like that, isn't it?
That's a nice reference from 30 years ago.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Kyle was around the round table as well. He was saying, I prefer the loud people, so maybe we should just keep them in.
That was interesting.
Which was odd.
No, he didn't. To be
He was
fair,
like, otherwise you're going to be lame.
to be fair, he didn't quite say it that way. He said that he needed people to be more open and opinionated, because
And
they
not
only-
lame. Otherwise this is going to be boring around the round table and lame.
Yeah, but I think he's got a reasonable argument there, because I think he thinks that if people hide their feelings from one another, then you're not going to be able to find the traitors. But Azra gave the counter argument at the same round table and said, actually, I find that the quiet ones are the ones who are the most intelligent, because they're the ones stepping back
Don't
and
need to
watching the
shout.
world. Exactly. Watching it all unfold before them. And to be fair to Kyle, he nodded and agreed. So a Kyle nod.
What is Kyle? I'm just looking at what Kyle's from. Cause Kyle is an alcohol entrepreneur. Oh, he
you
was
go.
on Summer House and then Winter House.
What?
The reality show is all about wealthy New Yorkers having a relaxing time in a house.
Wow.
Therefore,
Is it on the
us
Bravo
calling them-
network?
Bravo, yeah.
Is because NBC is owned by Universal, isn't it? If my memory
don't
serves me
know.
right. So this is, I think it is. Is Bravo owned by Universal? Do you want me to
don't
look it
know.
up and you can talk about how much you love Kyle?
I like his haircut.
Do you?
Yeah.
You did say
But
that.
that's about it. But like that sounds like a really boring show that he's moderately known for, which goes to confirm our description of the
Summer House,
somewhat
Winter
moderately
House.
well, staying in a cozy house. So that sounds lovely. But I don't mind. Actually, I don't actually mind Kyle. Actually, he's okay. But I just thought that was a really odd sort of comment to announce around the table to everyone. Like, oh yes,
It was well. I'm sorry. I've just put, for anyone listening, I've just put my finger up in the air to tell Ben that Bravo is indeed owned by NBC Universal. So now we know why. So they're probably not getting paid technically for doing the show, but they are because they're doing it via
on
contract.
contracts.
Aye.
I see.
There you go. So now that figures.
Well, I want him voted out now. Then no, I don't. I don't mind Kyle. Actually, he's fine. He is what he is at the moment. Of course, opinions can change by the episode. as
Although
we know.
Survivor is CBS.
right?
Unless that-
what's
well-
that got to do with it?
Well, they're not owned
Oh.
by NBC.
Well, they getting paid then? No.
Well, this is it. This is.
Well, I don't know, because
mystery.
someone who said to us how to pronounce Suri's name, they said, I know she's not a celebrity. So are the Survivor ones not counted as the well-known people?
somewhat known.
It's all very
They're all.
confusing.
Celebrity is such a fickle thing.
It is. Look at us.
We're
Exactly.
lesser than the celebrities
If I
on
was on the
Earth.
Traitors, I'd be a slightly known person.
But no, I mean, I again, just to bring it
Go
back
back to
round
the Traitors,
to
yes.
back to the Traitors. Do ring around what you were saying about it would be more interesting if there were less. I think once Kate and Brandy's gone, I think it would be interesting to see how the show.
I like
develops
Kate
from
to
that.
go on the next episode.
I think she's
Either
likely
murder
to.
or banishment, but because this bit of paper's been put in,
It won't be murder.
she won't be murdered now. But I don't want the two that are written down on the paper to be murdered. But she's told Suri, and she's a traitor, so she can frame Kate for murder. Basically, is where we're going here, isn't it? She can
But this is
frame
what's-
Kate.
this is
She
what
can
they'll
use the
do.
bit of paper, murder someone who's written on the paper, and then Stephanie will go around and tell everyone, "I found a bit of paper.
Yep.
She's a traitor, but don't tell her."
And that's Michael safe for another.
But Kate's such a
episode.
loose cannon that she could literally just, breakfast table could just explode.
overturn the table, just stand up and be like, Kate mad.
Where's the wine? Do you not serve wine at breakfast?
Just screaming at the camera directly saying, where's my wine?
We have to monitor from now on how often Kate wears sunglasses inside
Oh,
and during the day.
is that the
and at
sign,
all
is it?
points.
That's the sign.
She was wearing sunglasses this episode, most of it, I think, like 90% of it. So,
Poor Kate. I mean, we're painting her into this horrible
I know.
character.
She's on good money, it's fine.
Good
So
for
the
her.
ones who might be murdered then because of this bit of paper, we're looking at Amanda or Shelby, aren't we?
Yeah.
See two more civilians. It's
I've got
annoying.
I've got no feeling toward.
I quite like Amanda.
Yeah. I can't.
She had
I can't
she
think-
had red glasses on.
Yeah, it's the ER nurse, Amanda, the one who said that she can tell if someone's lying
Mm.
when they're in the emergency room. I can tell when they're not dead.
Shelby's not really done
Shelby's
much,
not
but
really
she hasn't
been on my
offended me
radar.
at all, so I don't mind her.
Yeah, but that might be because she's not been on the radar very much. But then that doesn't mean that she wouldn't be an interesting character. This
Well,
is
we
my
still
point.
got her story arc to go through where she's lying about being a teacher.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
She's not mentioned yet to anyone. No one's asked.
I mean, when that comes out, what's gonna happen there?
Nothing.
Ooh, I'm
People are
thinking-
like, okay.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Why did you do that? Just pat her on the head and tell her to
Being a
make her
teacher
way.
is more suspicious than working for like an office job.
I just
I
find
would
that
say.
really odd that she decided, and the only one who decided
Maybe she
to
thought
do
she was
that
on the
as well.
circle.
Maybe
She thought, is this the circle? I'm Shelby and I'm a teacher.
I wonder if a lot of them didn't realise what kind of show they were going into. Do you know what I mean? It's like a lot of them seem a bit confused by the whole.
I mean, it's not a
environment.
massively known show, is it? So possibly.
No, it's not. Well, when they recorded the series, the Australian series hadn't been aired by then. In fact, I think the only series that had been aired was the Dutch series. And I don't want to sound rude, but I don't think any of them lot would have watched the Dutch series of Traitors.
Exactly. So there you go then. I think we were reaching our time.
Are we? Oh,
We are.
You've already done your theory, haven't you? So
Yeah, I did
which
my
you were
theory
meant
at
to
the
be
beginning,
keeping to the
that was
end. but you just couldn't.
Which took up
couldn't control
a
yourself.
majority of the show, but I'm suspicious of the producers and suspicious of Kate.
So you reckon Kate's next out then?
No, I want Kate out now.
Kate's out. What, by banishment? Yeah, I think that's the only way she'll get out.
Yeah, murder or banishment.
She won't go out by murder.
No.
It'll be too obvious. If they
I like
murder her,
Christian
it's
now.
far too obvious.
He's my favourite traitor, I think, at the moment.
Oh, I like Christian.
Hmm.
Again, he just reminds me of someone who's kind of like a rabbit headlights the whole time. And Suri and Cody are really cruel about like they keep like
Yeah, they don't
judging
listen to him, do they?
all the time. And I'm not being funny, but I mean, I think Suri is playing an excellent game. Actually, I genuinely believe she's a
she's
brilliant
good
traitor.
at pretending she's not a traitor around like conversations.
And she's good at somehow getting people to trust her as well, so she's able to get some inside information. I think people are very wary of Cody.
Cody seems to just be stepping back and not really making
He was not really doing
many
much.
bonds, obviously on purpose, but I think that could be a bit worrying, where like people start questioning like, why are you stepping back from?
I think people don't want to get close to him either because I think it's weird though.
Is he
his name's
untrusty?
never-
Was he a bit dodgy on Big Brother?
I'm presuming
or
he
what?
was from the impression I'm getting from how they in the first episode, how they kind of talked about him and how he kind of talked about himself. He sounded like he kind of cheated his way into winning the series of Big Brother. Like he lied to everyone.
Oh, yeah, it's saying it's much more strategic, his play in Big Brother, than what British counterpart is used to. So maybe he
Well, I did say that though.
he won in All Stars as well,
Did he? Brian Dowling won the UK version of All Stars Big Brother
and then presented it.
and then presented it not very well.
Bad catchphrase.
Oh God, don't phone. What was it?
I can't remember.
Oh God. Oh, it's just too late. That was a catchphrase. Anyone in America
Davila's
listening to
catchphrase
us-
when it was live on TV was,
Wait, so the
"You're
original...
live on TV. Do not swear."
Wait, we need to
No, just do
context
it quick.
here.
We're running out of time.
Well, right, well, context for American listeners
God's
is
sake.
we had the original Big Brother was Davina
Right.
McCall, and her catchphrase was, "You're live on Channel 4, the channel it was aired on. You're live on Channel 4. Please do not swear."
Yes.
Good. It was amazing. It would be like really took
Everyone
off.
loved it.
Everyone loved it. And then Brian
Brian
Dowling
won
took
out
over,
All Stars, then presented.
moved to Channel 5, and his catchphrase was, "But don't phone because you're just too late." And it was
'Cause
like,
it's live.
oh, for God's sake. It was just awful.
You're just too
and he tried
late.
too hard to try to make it stick. Also, Davina McCall has, "Do you want another one? Do you want another
Not
one?"
a catchphrase. It's just a meme.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's a bit like when Shirley did her "Not Too Early" from 10 from Shirley.
This
So
is
that
Strictly now.
Yeah,
We're
that's
talking about
Strictly now.
Strictly Come
But she
Dancing
took
now.
over from Len, who had 7.
Len Goodman, who the Americans will know because he does the American version.
Although he's just
Dancing
quit.
with Stars.
Dancing
Has he
with
quit the
Stars. He's
American
finished.
version?
Yeah, he had his goodbye.
Oh, did he? Might have to catch that.
Anyway,
Does Bruno still host it in America?
yes, he's on it.
He
Tyra
left it.
hosts it now. Tyra Banks.
Tyra Banks, I love America's Next Top Model. Series 22, peak. Right. So if people want to get in touch with us about the Traitors, the show we're actually meant to be talking about, please do so. As we say, we're recording this as we watch them as they're aired. Well, they're being shown on iPlayer in the UK.
Yeah, so we're just releasing them whatever.
As we
so make
watch
sure
them.
you're subscribed so you get all the things.
Oh, yes.
No spoilers in the titles or the description, so you can subscribe and then just listen as you watch if you want to.
There you go. And then you can get in touch with us with your theories or ideas as we go along by emailing us faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com or find us on Twitter. Don't forget to follow at Traitors Podcast. And if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast apps, please give us a 5-star rating.
You can tweet us, like you said, because someone has tweeted us who, is listening in between their viewings. They've watched episode 1 and 2. Are you also comparing the US players to the UK players? Looking at you, Alex. The person who is KAPHC, they say that they feel like Christian is like Meryl, someone who has no filter, just says whatever. Brandy is like Maddie. She's kind of correct in who she's blaming, but not doing it quite right. So, it's always fun to compare.
I found that Brandy was a little bit like John. The one
With her meanness.
with her very mean
And Michael's
comment.
like Aaron.
Michael is like
Cried.
Aaron.
Getting blamed all the time for no reason.
But not wearing the trousers.
No.
Aaron's will always be known for those trousers.
Yeah, those grey trousers have a big following.
They do.
I feel Christian is the closest to Aaron in the trouser department.
But I would say then, if anyone really Christian, sorry, I just realised what you said. Christian.
I
He
think
wore
Christian's the
stonewashed
hottest contestant.
Stonewashed
Okay.
jeans. He wore stonewashed jeans on episode 2. I have a pair of stonewashed jeans upstairs, and you have no. You bullied
Yes, I'm talking
me
about the
over
whole
those
thing,
jeans.
not just the trousers.
Wow. So
just
am I?
everything.
Wow. Okay. Great. So
Christian's my Aaron of the series.
Fantastic.
If you know what I mean, you know
yes,
what I
we
mean.
all know what you mean.
If you know,
deserve
you
that.
know. Those who don't. Okay.
If anyone has any comparatives, is that a word? Want to compare anything with the UK version to the American version, then please do get in touch.
But not the Australian one because we've not seen that yet. So
Yes,
don't
please
spoil
don't
it.
tell
We
us
can
anything
spoil
about
it for
Australian
everyone,
version.
but no one can spoil it for
Yeah, keep it strum. Keep it strum, and we'll talk about that maybe later on.
I'm here to slay.
Let's start and end on that. There you go. So that's another episode for episode 3 of the American series. And we will be back very soon for the next roundup. So, as always, continue to be faithful.